Good to have you with us. We're with Farooq Laghari on Talkback. Okay, moving on. Speaking of your interim government, people with suspect backgrounds were put on place. First of all, Malik Miraj Khalid, too old for the job, was confined, according to Time magazine, was confined to giving actresses from PTV awards. Mumtaz Bhutto, too nationalist, too anti-PPP, too involved within his own party at that time, too involved with his son's campaign. Khwaja Tariq Rahim, according to some opposition parties at that time, had a bad reputation. Your brother-in-law, who had been a consultant, Zubair Khan, who had been a consultant for Aptima, and the concessions made to some tycoons, some textile tycoons during that time, was seen as him doing a favor to his former clients. Your cousin and MPA, Sardar Jafar Khan, was chairing meetings in DG Khan division, though he had no office at that time. But he was chairing meetings, he was telling people to take cases to the Ehtisab division, he was handling development projects and law and order situation, he was debriefing the commissioner over there. Also, actions from you. Anti-PPP actions, you tried to convert Aftab Sherpa and Faisal Saleh Hayat on your side. Plus, there were reports that your own sons were using the help of bureaucrats from DG Khan to run their campaigns.
All these allegations are a bunch of lies. Number one, people who you say or who people say or critics say were of doubtful reputation or who had certain tendencies, I appointed them into high offices. And the first name you named was Miraj Khalid. Miraj Khalid had been Speaker of the National Assembly under the PPP. Now, Miraj Khalid.
We know his background, but you know what the Nation wrote about him? The Nation said that he has too close a connection with Iqbal Beg, Lahore's prime drug dealer who was extradited to the US.
No, I don't know. People talk a lot about many people in PPP and PML.
Time magazine said that he was laughed into oblivion by even the most pessimistic Pakistanis.
The Time magazine.
And Time magazine also said that President Farooq Laghari at that time had a very, very high profile approach. Instead of letting the interim government come forward and do its job, President Laghari at that time came in and did his job.
Well, I think whatever I did...
You were speaking to the nation every couple of weeks.
Yeah, the way I led that interim government from the presidency, I did it, within the limits of the Constitution. I never violated that, number one. Number two, I gave them guidance in certain matters, and these included, I think, record-breaking legislation, which included the freedom of speech law, which included freeing of the media, which included giving the right to vote to the people of FATA, the tribal areas. It included several other laws dealing with the press and with the people, which were, I think, groundbreaking, number one. Number two, Miraj Khalid's cabinet and those who had worked with him as Prime Minister, and even the bureaucrats who worked with him, they have testified to the fact that his cabinet worked in the smoothest possible manner and that he was perhaps the most capable Prime Minister that we've ever had. As far as Tariq Rahim was concerned, Tariq Rahim is today People's Party's prime candidate from Lahore. Mumtaz Bhutto, yes, he had a reputation for a good administrator in Sindh.
He was against the PPP out and out.
Sorry?
He was completely against the PPP.
Yeah, but that was not my main concern.
What about your brother-in-law?
My brother-in-law, I think, number one, he was never a consultant to Aptima. Zubair Khan was, I think...
This is what the paper said, sir.
No, but Zubair Khan was and is one of the most upright and one of the most competent commerce ministers that Pakistan has ever had.
But don't you think that you are putting yourself in the line of fire as far as nepotism is concerned by putting your brother-in-law in office?
But it was 3 months. It was an interim period. We needed competent people who could be relied upon.
Don't you think you're putting yourself in the line of fire for charges of nepotism?
No, I don't think so.
In such precarious times?
No, even when you have competence on the one hand and when you have people who could deliver, and mind you, in that very short period, he delivered enormously.
What about charges of being partisan? For example, in your first year, this is what was listed down. First of all, visiting Bhutto's grave.
I was a,
You called him Shaheed.
yes.
What do you think that
He-
says about the overall role of the president? Considering, and this is what was written, that the man, whether you like it or not, was hung by the government of Pakistan.
Yeah, but I believed then and I still believe that he was hung wrongly. I think
What do you think that shows about your position as being from PPP man to being president? Don't you think that shows that you are partisan?
of course I was member of the PPP, but the day I became president, I resigned from the People's Party.
Right.
Yeah.
And you visited his grave.
Yes, I visited his grave because I thought very highly of Mr. Bhutto. I think he had done enormous service to Pakistan.
What sort of example do you think you set for everybody else in this country who is not for the PPP, who expects a president to rise above party politics?
I think I rose above the party politics by leaving the party. But if I think highly of somebody who's passed away, or even if somebody who's living and who belongs to a certain party, and if I visit him as president, I don't think there's anything wrong.
Mediation between Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto and Begum Bhutto. There was a tug of war going on back in the day during your first year. You were mediating for a power struggle between those two.
I wasn't.
Do you think it was your role to do
I
so?
wasn't mediating as such, but as I must tell you again and again, I wanted an end to the bickering that we had seen in politics in Pakistan, the extreme polarity that had been created between different parties. And I wanted stability, and I wanted Benazir's party, which had won a mandate, to succeed. And if there was serious problems between Begum Bhutto and Benazir, I tried to play a role, but it was a very insignificant role. I did not even want to meddle as
Mr. Laghari,
president
it
in
was
their,
noted in the
their
papers
affairs.
and it was held against you. You were called a partisan by being a part of that. You were not a party member anymore.
Yeah, I wasn't.
It wasn't your job to mediate between the
No,
internal tussle.
I wasn't mediating as such. I don't know why people get this impression. I don't think, if Benazir ever came to me complaining of her mother, or Begum Bhutto ever complained to me, I would just advise the other that, you should live peacefully and amicably.
Well into your presidency, you were also towing the government's line on the MQM, for example, the face-off with the MQM in Karachi. You kept on making statements like, yes, the MQM, the Karachi situation will be solved in a few months, 12 to 18 months, etc., etc. You kept on giving these statements. And then one fine day, you chopped the government off.
Mm-hmm. And brought charges against the government that they had indulged in custodial killings.
Exactly my point.
No, my point is,
you've been towing the line, and then
how
one
do you
day
say,
you make a proclamation and you end the government.
As president of Pakistan, as a constitutional president of Pakistan, without executive authority, the president does not do anything that is against the interest of either the government or the state. And at least he does not do it publicly. You'll be surprised to know that there were at least 3 meetings on the issue of security in Karachi and the killings in Karachi, where the Prime Minister had requested that I hold the meetings, and that I called the Army Chief, and I called the ISI Chief and others, the Interior Minister and the Chief Minister and the Prime Minister. And in those meetings, when this issue came up, because it was a matter of concern, I was getting a large number of mail and letters from MQM supporters that there had been custodial killings. I raised this issue, and I was assured by General Babar at that time that no, we are not indulging in any custodial killings. And I chided them on all 3 occasions that how come that each time you take people who are in custody and then they either jump off roofs, commit suicide, or they're killed. And I warned them, I said, this is going to create a counterforce. Those criminal elements within MQM who are indulging in this kind of a thing